Forget everything you've been told about what makes a man memorable. It's not the flash, the charm, or the perfect words. The truth is simpler and much more powerful. The man she never forgets is the one who was present. Truly, deeply, unmistakably present. Not just in the room, not just nodding along while she talks, but with her mind, body, and spirit. This kind of presence is rare. Most men today are distracted. Their minds are racing, thinking about what to say next, how to impress her, or what the outcome might be. Their phones buzz, their eyes drift, their energy is scattered. And women feel that. They feel when your attention is divided. It makes them close off. It makes them feel like just another moment you're passing through. But when a man locks in, when he puts his phone down, leans in just slightly, looks her in the eyes, and listens not to reply but to understand, that moment becomes unforgettable. Because presence communicates something that words never can. You matter. Right now, nothing else is more important than you. And that message is rare. It cuts through the noise of the world she lives in. A world full of men who are performative, shallow, or just plain distracted. So when she meets a man who slows everything down, who isn't in a rush, who's fully there, it hits different. She feels seen. Not just looked at, but truly seen. Presence isn't about saying all the right things. It's about being the right. Energy. Calm, grounded, undistracted. It's a quiet kind of power, the kind that doesn't demand attention, but effortlessly holds it. And long after that moment passes, long after the conversation ends, she'll find herself thinking about how she felt in that space with you. And that feeling, it lasts. There's a rare kind of man who leaves an imprint that time can't erase. Not because of how he looks or what he has, but because of how he makes a woman feel. And more than anything, what she craves is a man who can hold two opposing forces at once. Emotional safety and unapologetic masculinity. One without the other is incomplete. Emotional safety alone might make her feel seen, but it lacks the edge that stirs her soul. Masculinity alone may be thrilling at first, but without warmth, it eventually feels cold and threatening. The man she remembers is the one who can give her both. Emotional safety means she can open up around you. She can let her guard down without fearing judgment, rejection, or manipulation. She can speak without editing herself and trust that you won't weaponize her vulnerability. Most men don't offer this. Not because they're cruel, but because they don't know how to sit still. With emotion, they either try to fix it or dismiss it or take it personally. But the man who listens, who accepts her where she's at and creates space for her to just be, that man earns her trust in a way few ever do. But safety without strength doesn't hold its power. She also needs to feel your unapologetic masculinity, your grounded confidence, your refusal to chase approval, your ability to lead with quiet certainty. She needs to see that you don't crumble under pressure, that you have your own direction, and that you're not seeking her validation to feel whole. When you can balance that soft strength with unshakable presence, you become something rare. She doesn't just feel safe around you, she feels alive. And it's that combination of comfort and intensity, of peace and fire, that burns your presence into her memory long after you're gone. There's something undeniably magnetic about a man who wants a woman but doesn't need her. It's a subtle difference, but it changes everything. Neediness is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. It sends the signal that your sense of self, your peace, your happiness are all dependent on her validation. And that pressure, that emotional weight, doesn't feel like love. It feels like burden. Women aren't drawn to men who cling. They're drawn to men who invite, not chase. Men who are fully alive with or without them. The man she never forgets isn't cold or distant. He's warm, present, and open, but centered. His energy doesn't scream, "Please pick me." It calmly says, "You're welcome to come along, but I'll be fine either way." That confidence, that lack of emotional desperation is rare And in a world full of men trying to impress, trying to prove their worth, trying to be chosen, it stands out like fire in the dark. He doesn't need to play games or disappear to seem mysterious. He just lives with purpose. He's grounded in who he is. His attention is a gift, not a request. When he reaches out, it's because he genuinely wants to connect, not because he's trying to fill a void. And that difference changes how she experiences him. Instead of feeling pressure, she feels curiosity. Instead of pulling away, she leans in. Because when a woman meets a man who is emotionally full on his own, she senses it immediately. He doesn't need her to make his life meaningful. He chooses her from a place of strength, not scarcity. And that kind of energy is unforgettable. She may not understand why, but something about him lingers. Something about his calm detachment mixed with genuine interest makes her feel like she has to earn his presence. And she never forgets that. There comes a moment in almost every connection where boundaries are tested. Maybe it's through a subtle jab, a moment of disrespect, or a situation where a line gets crossed. How a man responds in that moment reveals everything about him. Most guys flinch, they argue, get emotional, beg to be understood, or try to fix things out of fear, of loss. But the man she never forgets. He doesn't plead, he doesn't explode, he doesn't create drama. He simply walks away with calm, with dignity, and with his self-respect fully intact. That moment hits different because it's not just about her behavior, it's about what he silently communicates without raising his voice. He shows her what he will and won't accept. Not with anger, but with clarity. And it's that clarity, that self-respect that lingers in her mind. Because deep down, every woman wants to feel like the man she's with has standards. Not just for her, but for himself. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean being heartless or cold. It means knowing your worth and refusing to stay where that worth isn't seen. Most men stay far too long in situations where they're not respected, trying to fix what can be fixed, hoping that loyalty will change things. But the unforgettable man knows when to stop giving chances. He knows when the cost of staying is too high, and the way he leaves matters. It's not a storm. It's a quiet exit, a clear decision. He's not trying to teach her a lesson. He's just choosing himself. That choice creates an impact that words never could. It makes her reflect. It makes her question. And sometimes it's only after he's gone that she truly sees who he was. Because the man who walks away with grace leaves behind something stronger than memories. He leaves behind reverence. In a world where everyone is oversharing, over-explaining, and trying too hard to be understood, mystery has become a lost art. Most men reveal everything too soon. They talk about their past, their emotions, their intentions, all before a real connection has even been built. It's not their fault. They've been told that vulnerability is the key. And yes, vulnerability has power, but only when it's backed by strength. The man she never forgets doesn't put his entire heart on display from day one. He lets her feel his presence but not fully grasp it. He offers clarity in who he is, but leaves space for her curiosity. That tension between what's known and what's still unfolding is where real desire lives. He's consistent. She knows he'll show up as a man of character. He doesn't waver. He doesn't play hot and cold. But just when she thinks she's figured him out, she realizes there's more. He has depth. Not because he's trying to be mysterious, but because he is living a full purpose-driven life that isn't all about her. And in that balance, she becomes captivated. This man doesn't beg for connection. He invites it. He doesn't try to impress with his words. He impresses with how he moves, how he carries himself, how little he needs to be loud to be noticed. She finds herself thinking about him not because he was the most charming or available, but because there's something in him she can't quite explain. Women don't remember predictable men. They remember the ones who kept them wondering, not through games, but through quiet confidence. A man who shows up strong, but keeps just enough behind the curtain to leave her wanting more. That's the man who lingers in her thoughts long after the conversation ends. That's unforgettable.